Now we're going to move to the main card in the first bout in the bantamweight division between technical striker and I would say very highly touted prospect in the UFC in Raoni Barcelos, who comes into the fight with a record of 16 victories and 3 defeats, going up against Trevin 5-Star Jones, who comes back with a record of 13 victories, 8 defeats, and 1 no contest. Now, when it comes to breaking down the matchup here, I think that we know the type of fight we're going to get from a Raoni Barcelos. Barcelos is not high in terms of the volume. Like, he's never going to come out and throw, 4, 5, 6 punch combinations. It's going to be, looking for 1 or 2 shots and trying to find the openings, constantly moving laterally, moving in and out, looking to feint and then come in with that rear uppercut as the opponent tries to change levels. Jab, left hook, right uppercut. 1, 2, slip off and pivot off the lead leg. Jab, hook, right body kick. 2, 3, right low kick. Like, he's very technical and he's very sharp in terms of his striking. Barcelos is one of the sharpest strikers in MMA. I truly do believe that. But the only thing is, his volume is what causes him to get behind on the scorecards and lose fights that he probably should be winning. There's been a couple fights where I thought maybe he got the job done and he didn't. I would say maybe against Timur Valiev, I had him up, but it was a very close fight and he lost that decision. He won that fight against Said Nurmagomedov. He just lost against Victor Henry in his last fight, which I actually picked Henry to win there because of the lack of volume from Raoni Barcelos. But I still think that Barcelos is very, very solid. He kind of reminds me a little bit of like an early Jose Aldo in terms of his technical abilities and his speed, but the volume is what really causes him a lot of trouble. And then going up against Trevin Jones, he hasn't fought too many times inside the UFC, and he's a guy who doesn't throw a whole lot of volume either. If you look at Trevin Jones, he's not a guy that's going to come in and throw heavy combinations, but he's going to look to set you up. He's going to look to find an opening, and then he's going to look to land a shot on your chin and knock you out. He's got 13 victories, 8 defeats, 3 wins by KO, 4 by submission, and 6 by decision. Like I said, he's not a very heavy volume striker, but he has the power to shut your lights out. You've seen it in his right hook from southpaw. You've seen it in the right hand from orthodox, landing a right hook and then landing a right hook in southpaw like he did against Timur Valiev, where he got that win. Common opponents for both men would be Timur Valiev, and Trevin Jones actually knocked him out in his UFC debut, and then Raoni Barcelos lost that fight via decision. Did drop him 2 times at the end of the first round, but then came out and lost the next 2 rounds, I believe. I think that's how it was. It might have been a drop in the second round, but I believe it was the first. And, Jones has power. He's technical. He can survive, man. He took a beating from Timur Valiev early in that fight with a kick to the body, shots to the body over and over again. And, was getting pieced up, got dropped, got back up, was able to survive, and then eventually knock out Valiev, like I said, with that right hook from southpaw, and then put him out. He's got power. He's got heavy ground and pound that, that we've seen. But I think that this is a fight that's kind of tailor-made for Raoni Barcelos, because it's not a guy who's going to throw this heavy volume, who's going to put this heavy pressure on you. He does put pressure. He will move forward and try to land his shots on you, but he's not a multiple strike combination style of fighter. He throws 1, 2, maybe 3 strikes at the most and just looks to set you up for that power shot. Jones is more of a looking to set you up for power. I think that Barcelos has a lack of volume as well, but I think he's better at fighting a more pick you apart type of fight and kind of throwing 1 or 2 shots, but looking to set everything up. Jab, left hook, right low kick, 1, 2, lead body kick, cross lead body kick, 1, 2, left hook, right uppercut, slip and pivot off the center line. I think that when it comes to both these guys, neither of them have a heavy volume style of attack. But if neither of them have that heavy volume, I expect the sharpness and technique of Barcelos to cause Trevin Jones a lot of problems. I think the kicking game to the inside and outside of the lead legs of Trevin Jones, when he switches southpaw, I expect that right body kick to come quick and come often, and, landing those combinations, even if they're not heavy, like multiple shot combos, 2 or 3 punch combos and then getting out off the center line. I think Barcelos should have a pretty easy time here with Jones, but I do not discredit the power that Jones possesses in that right hand. If he lands a straight right hand, if he lands a right hook from orthodox, if he lands that lead right hook from southpaw as Barcelos moves in, or as he's trying to slip and move laterally, if he gets him to move into that right hook, He's got the power where I think he could hurt Barcelos and drop him, but we haven't seen Raoni Barcelos finished in his career. If you look at his losses, he's only lost twice by decision, I believe, and once by submission. Let's see. Yeah, 2 decisions and 1 submission. He's never been finished in his career. I think Jones does have the power, but going off the fact that Barcelos hasn't been finished, and it's probably going to be a slow-paced technical style of like you go, I go style of striking matchup, kind of like a Thai style fight. I don't expect a ton of grappling to be showcased here, but if it does go to the ground, Barcelos is a decorated Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu artist, and he has such good takedown defense that it's not going to be easy to get those takedowns for Trevin Jones either. I think Jones is outmatched here. I think that Jones has more power, but I think the speed and technical ability of Raoni Barcelos is just way too much for Trevin Jones. I think he's going to be able to pick him apart. Jab, left hook, right low kick, jab, left hook, right body kick, right hand, left hook, right body kick, jab, left hook, rear uppercut, jab, feint the level change, come up with the rear uppercut, right hand, left hook, double jab, right hand, fade back, rear uppercut. Like all those combos are going to be coming at Trevin Jones. But if we get Barcelos staring in the mirror and Trevin Jones pushes him back up against the fence, lands some good combos and able to maybe keep him up against the cage in the over-under position, then maybe it can be a close fight, because the only thing that Barcelos has had trouble with is his lack of output. And I would say that that would probably be more of a concern here for me against a guy in Trevin Jones. But Jones doesn't have a lot of output either. He just looks to set up his shots. And when you're looking to set up those power shots against a guy who's going to be faster, who's going to be sharper technically, and who's going to be really good on the takedown defense and solid on striking off the break, I have to go with Barcelos here. I know he's, really come out and lost those last 2 fights, and fights that people believed that he was going to win. And I expect Barcelos to get the job done here. I think it could be a finish. He does have power, but he's not really a huge finisher. I mean, he's got 8 wins out of his 16 coming by way of finish, but some of his wins in the UFC, and a lot of the times he's going to decision. So I'm going to go with Raoni Barcelos to defeat Trevin 5-star Jones via a 29-27. No, we'll go close. 29-28 unanimous decision. I think Jones might steal 1 round in there, but I think it's going to be a pretty dominant performance from Barcelos here. I've always been really high on Raoni, but he just has that lack of volume and lack of output has caused him a lot of trouble in his recent fights. And I think that he can definitely get the job done here, but I am a little bit worried to say to bet heavy on Barcelos because of his lack of output at most times. But going up against a guy in Trevin Jones who doesn't have that great of output either, I don't think it's going to be as big of a concern in this fight. So I'm going to go with Raoni Barcelos to defeat Trevin 5-star Jones via a 29-28 unanimous decision on the judges' scorecards. If you look at the odds for this fight, you have Raoni Barcelos as a minus 225 favorite, minus 210 at some places, to a -1 or a plus 190 underdog for Trevin Jones. I like to bet Barcelos in this spot, whether it's a money line or a parlay piece. I think it's a little bit more risky to put him in a parlay just because, you never know, maybe he doesn't throw that much volume, but I am pretty confident in Barcelos to get the job done here. So I would say if you want to put him in a parlay, he's definitely worth a shot. If you want to bet him straight up on the money line, that's probably going to be a better option, but you're getting a hefty price tag at minus 220, minus 230 in most places. So maybe it's not the best fight to bet him, but I do like Barcelos this weekend, and or next weekend, I should say, because technically it's Sunday today. I do like Barcelos to get the job done against Trevin Jones here. So 29-28 unanimous decision for Raoni Barcelos over Trevin 5-star Jones.